Hello Internet friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay or LiJo, and today, INTJs, I have a way for you to improve your SE, your extroverted sensing, with this one easy tip that it took me far too long in life to really, truly realize I am not doing. If you'd like to talk to me about this subject or anything related to your cognitive journey, you can book a video session with me below on Snug. So here we go. So I just need to say up front, to those of you who are Savior Sensory, please feel free to say how horrified you are by this video in the comment section, because I realize that for you, this might actually be scary that this is in fact the revelation. All right, so let's just get it out of the way and then I'll bring in the context, okay? So what I realized the other day, the big epiphany I had, is that when I am doing something, I am not actually looking at what I am doing. I am thinking about what I am doing. And what brought this up in my mind and then all of a sudden zipped all of these instances together into this one conceptual package was when I was having some chill time with my markers. So I have gotten into this thing that I have just started doing where I kind of meditate through line work with markers, and it's very kind of just, it reminds me of the rocks and the sand, you know, like the sand stuff, and it just kind of helps to chill me out, just making these shapes. Anyway, I realized that sometimes my lines were straighter, more natural, organic, flowing than other times. And as I did it more, you know, I was trying to really figure out, like, what am I doing? Why are my lines better at sometimes? And especially since I've been doing it more, why have they gotten slightly better, you know, versus sometimes they just are totally wrong. And then it clicked. The times when I was actually looking at what I was doing, when I was looking at my pen, my marker against the paper, it was in fact a better line. Now, I don't think I can really convey the amount of shock I experienced in this moment, because the first part of it was, I'm not looking at what I am doing, therefore, what am I actually looking at? But then I realized my eyes were looking towards the paper, but I wasn't actually taking in the information that was in front of me. I was thinking about what I was doing. I was thinking about where I wanted to take this. I wasn't actually looking at what was happening in that moment. And it was so obvious. That whole time, this whole time of life, I am thinking about what I am doing instead of seeing and looking at what I am doing. So then all the flooding of instances from the past came to my brain of, that is why that moment was not successful. And honestly, there's just far too many I don't remember, so I'm just gonna share a few of them. So the first instance where I can remember this being a thing is when I was in 5th grade and we were all forced to play softball. It was horrible. Anyway, my dad was trying to teach me how to throw and catch a ball, and the young INTJ struggled. She struggled very much, and my dad kept reiterating the same message, Lindsay, when you're throwing a ball, you actually have to look at where you're throwing it. When you're catching a ball, you actually have to watch it go into your mitt. Where was I looking? I don't know. I was thinking about throwing the ball. I was thinking about catching the ball. But I was not connecting reality to what my action needed to be. Remember my wonderful sensory story about putting my finger in the blender and turning it on? Well, it was simply because I was thinking about all the things I was getting together at that moment in that meal in the kitchen, and I wasn't looking at the fact that I had my finger next to the blade, and I wasn't looking at the fact that my other hand was on the trigger, and I wasn't looking when I pressed down and suddenly was bleeding with my stick immersion blender. And then all the times where I improved in an area that I had been lacking, whether that's just from the fact that I spill things, I am a walking puddle of liquid. And one day I remember taking a bowl of soup out of the kitchen and actually watching it as I walked from the kitchen into the dining room. And I realized that if I looked at my soup as I was walking with it, it was much less likely to spill. I actually started looking at it. I started looking at what was in front of me and realizing its state in the present reality. And just a few videos ago when I did that video on SI and SI cleaning, and I was kind of confused about cleaning doors, like the concept of cleaning doors, and I thought they were talking about kitchen cabinet doors. They weren't. They were talking about actual doors, because after I shot that video, I went and looked at actual doors in the house and I realized they were dirty. The door was dirty. I actually looked at what was in front of me and I was able to then clean it because I actually was looking at what I was interacting with. There's just this difference between perceiving space and dimension and then actually looking at a thing. You know, like there's an actual difference between not bumping into everything because you're aware of shape and then actually knowing and perceiving and pulling in what is in your environment. And there's been so many points in life where people have pointed out things that, sure, now that my attention is drawn to them, I can perceive them being real. Things such as, well, the people over at that table, the birds chirping in the air, the music playing in the background. Now, when my attention is brought to it, sure, I have awareness of it. But if you were to drop me in a room with a piece of test paper and a pencil and ask me, Lindsay, in the place you just last were there birds chirping? Now, I might be able to infer that likely there were if I was outside perhaps, but it could be a birdless day and I could be completely wrong. Were there people at another table? I don't know. There definitely could have been. It could be likely. I can reduce to a likely scenario, but I'm simply not taking in the environment. And the funny thing is that this is so in line with how the functions work. I know this, right? I've said many times before in videos, well, you know, us INTJs, we have to actually take in the sensory and things like that. You have to look at the sensory if you're not good in that particular area and actually watch what you're doing. And I think a lot of times I would think so hard about what I was doing and still not look at it.
Well, would you look at that? Yeah,
because to me, I'm still defaulting to the savior state of my NI and my TE, and I'm like, I can figure this out. And it's like, Lindsay, all you have to do is actually look.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
Actually look at the thing that you're really doing. I'm drawing, but I'm not looking at my marker as it goes across the paper. I am failing at high fives, but I'm not looking at the other person's hand as I try to do the thing. I'm thinking about, oh gosh, this person's gonna try to high five me. Are they gonna try to fist bump me at the last moment? Is this gonna be a weird elbow thing? I'm thinking about, all I had to do was just look at it. So INTJs, what if you actually looked at the thing in real time that you were trying to conquer in the sensory, instead of just thinking about it? All right, guys, that's it for this video. INTJs, I know it might sound a little crazy to think that you're not, well, maybe you realize you're not looking at it. But I challenge you to really piece apart how much you're thinking about something and not actually looking at it. I'm going to try to practice this more when I realize I'm struggling with something in the sensory. And I am going to try to attune to the fact that I'm likely not looking at it and how that can help me be a better human. So that's it, guys. I will see you in my next video. Goodbye, internet friends.